If I were to ask you to think of a Pokemon rival, some of you may say Barry, Silver, Gladion, or maybe even Trace. Who am I kidding? No one was thinking Trace. Instead, most if not everyone thinks of the OG rival, Blue Oak. Now, is Blue so well known just because he's the first rival? Probably. But even without the nostalgia bias, the character of Blue is a pretty respectable one, at least in terms of Pokemon. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at the ups, the downs, and the all-arounds of Blue Oak to see what makes him such a beloved Pokemon rival. Blue's first appearance in the Pokemon franchise is, surprise surprise, the first games, with Pokemon Red, Green, Blue, and Yellow for the Game Boy. In these games, he's introduced as the grandson of Professor Oak, but more importantly, your childhood friend and rival. The first time we see him is at the lab, where you and him both are tasked by Professor Oak to fill out the Pokédex. So if you weren't rivals before, you 100% are now, especially now that you have the same mission, and Blue makes that known by taunting your every move and ultimately challenging you to a battle. The result of this battle doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but it is important for Blue's character. If he wins, it's all because of him, and if he loses, it's all his Pokemon's fault. In other words, he's an arrogant piece of... Okay, let's not go that far. After all, Blue's arrogance is the perfect fire start you need to hammer away at your goal. Completing the Pokédex and raising your Pokemon to get stronger, otherwise you're just gonna get clowned on. This loop of battles continues on throughout the whole game, but it's important to note whilst Blue is an undeniable jerk and not a good trainer to his Pokemon, he's still our friend and always points us in the right direction, even if sarcastically, and taunts us to keep up with him. After all, he's his own main character and he needs a rival to strengthen himself. And all this comes full circle at the Pokemon League, as the boy makes it to the top mere minutes before us. And he tells us straight up, he knew we'd make it here, and he was looking forward to having another rival battle. After all, he's been working away at his decks and made a balanced team of powerhouses, making him the world's best. Which is the thing about Blue. Despite what anyone says, the kid's talented and a hard worker. If we never existed, he'd be the champion of Kanto with no issues. So after a tough or easy battle, depending on the person, Blue falls and loses his title as quickly as he got it. But fortunately, Oak finally decides to addle up and give his grandson some life-changing advice. The kid's strong, no lie, but he doesn't have the power of friendship like we do. Jokes aside, whilst for us this win is what we've been fiending over, for Blue, having his hard work get trampled over like nothing definitely hit him rough. Especially because he really couldn't figure out why he lost. Which lets us segue into the next time we see Blue, which is the Johto games. After this humbling loss, Blue was forced to change his ways, even if slightly. After all, taking that loss earned him the nickname of the Phantom Champion. And change his ways he did, as this guy got all philosophical after Red left and became a gym leader. When we find Blue in the Johto games, it's been 3 years, now he's matured. Well, only a little bit. He introduces himself as the former champion, still clinging on to his previous glory, despite having an impressive title of the strongest gym leader. He talks about the eruption on Cinnabar Island that wiped out all the towns and buildings, and I don't know if this was intentional or not, but the words that he says pretty much echoes his own story. A volcano erupts, and just like that, a whole town disappears. We can go on winning and losing in Pokemon, but if nature so much as twitches, we can be overwhelmed in a second. In his case, Red would be the volcano and his Korea would be the town. That's pretty deep stuff, make sure you're taking notes, guys. But despite this, he hasn't lost his drive, challenging us to a battle, but only if we can collect all 7 Kanto badges. When we do prepare to battle, he slanders the entire Johto region, but still offers us a fair chance to show our skills, which we do and defeat him. Which is a trait about Blue that I don't see a lot of people mention. Although he's prideful of his skills and talent, he's also prideful for the fact that he's from Kanto, having dialogue lines that mention about showcasing what Kanto can do. In other words, he's a tried and true Gen 1er. Whilst Blue still can't believe he lost, as a gym leader now, he fulfills his responsibilities and gives us our flowers, recognizing us as the real deal and vowing to take us down someday. But also something to note, as the older trainer for the first time, Blue takes his first step into being a legend to the new generation. He tells us that traveling around and collecting badges isn't easy, but we've got our Pokemon with us, passing the teachings that he's learned from his grandfather onto us. A funny thing I want to mention is that if we beat Red, then speak to him, he wants to take a commemorative photo with us, as if he's preying on his rival's downfall the whole time. And although not directly from the Johto games, Blue says, if I teach a trainer everything I know and they end up being Red, I think I'd still be happy about that, almost as if I'd done it myself, which I'd like to think is in reference to this. We don't see Blue again for a while after this, but we do run into him again at the World Tournament in Black and White 2, where at first glance he may seem the same, with his usual cocky attitude. but he's actually a bit more respectful, which makes sense. He can't be throwing around tantrums at a tournament of this scale. And of course, he once again bestows some more wisdom on the new gen, this time saying there's always someone better out there. Now taking a detour from the mainline games, we have the game that gives Blue the most spotlight, being Pokémon Masters. Whilst not directly canon to the mainline story, I still think it's worth bringing up, as the moment Blue gets in these games really boosts his development and character even more. In these games, Blue really takes on the role of a mentor for the new generation of protagonists and rivals, with many trainers either going to him or receiving advice from him. He's seen as a legend that's equal to Red. Well, slightly under Red, but still. Like, the guy literally serves as the game's tutorial character. Because the game focuses so much around team battles, he ends up teaming up with Red and Leaf, and despite being on a team with them, he refuses to let himself stay in his rival's shadow, or letting himself settle for just being the coach, showing that although Red may get the better of him most of the time, he isn't just going to be his number 2. And whilst he's just crashing out all geeked, Red's just locked in. But nah, if we're being for real, Red can hear what the guy's saying and actually speaks to Blue about this. Which is of course a monumental moment, you know, Red speaking, the guy's always silent, you get it. When our turn comes around to battle him, he gives us the impression that he's still the same old Blue from the first game, but fakes us out and properly congratulates us on the win. And good, because I thought we were going to be getting another case of flanderization. And for Blue's most recent appearance, at least in the timeline, we have the Sun and Moon games, where the boy is now a man and officially recognized as a battle legend. As an older trainer now, he doesn't argue with Red anymore. Instead, the two travel to Alola together in order to battle strong trainers, including us, the new champion of the region. Here when you battle against Blue, he's now reached a level of maturity that even when he loses, he can understand our talent, and with zero complaints, mind you. After all, he's the one who said that there's always someone better. Being one of the characters to appear over multiple games, Blue's had the chance to have a slow quick development in personality that felt genuine and not just a, "Aw man, I lost, I guess I'll be a goody two-shoes now." Nah, this guy even in adulthood kept his edge that made him him. Which is one of the best things about Blue. His character arc isn't simply about being a good guy. From the start he was never a villain. At worst he didn't treat his Pokemon with love that they deserved, but that was it. Once that issue was sorted, he still remained one of the top dogs of the Pokemon world. He's a genius trainer through and through, and his cocky attitude comes from the fact that he knows this. People say hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, but Blue is talent that does work hard, and it shows in his team. It's also why it makes him so satisfying to have him as a rival and opposing trainer. He's not the type of person you can take lightly, especially when you're younger and you don't battle as well. He picks the strongest starter, builds a good team, and has high levels. If you're not bringing your best, you're gonna lose, simple as that. And no one wants to lose to Mr. Smell Ya Later. When we were getting the XY rivals, How, Trace, and Hop back to back, people were crashing out over how they wanted their jerk-faced rivals back. And whilst these characters aren't bad at all, in fact some of them have development that's even better than Blue's, they still didn't hit the same, especially for the old heads. When you're playing a game like Pokemon, you want someone who's actually going to be giving you a challenge, especially when you get into the late game. And it's really good to see that Pokemon's realized this with characters like Nemona and Kieran actually having strong teams. Getting back to Blue, as he gets older, he takes what he's learned and passes it on to those after him, and takes pride in his skills as a teacher, even bragging that it's something that Red could never do. I think this quote from Masters summarizes Blue's entire character simply. At the time, I really thought I was the world's strongest. Now that I've come to Paseo and seen how big the world really is, I kinda laugh at my past self. But I've changed since then, you know? I've got the perfect combinations to use with the perfect partner. And more importantly, my trust in my Pokemon is top notch. Ha, maybe I really am the world's strongest. He's a rival with a strong sense of character that's easy to understand. A cocky, but also mature guy that has the definition of confidence, and I think that's why so many people like Blue. But what about you? What are your opinions on Blue? Let me know in the comment section down below, and if you enjoy this different type of video. If you did enjoy it, then I'll happily make more on other characters. With all that said and done, thanks all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.